Day 2. The Pyramids and the Gem, Monuments of Eternity. I woke up with butterflies in my stomach. Today, I was going to the Giza Pyramids. As we approached the plateau, I saw the Great Pyramid rise behind the city skyline. Seeing it with my own eyes hit me like a wave. These weren't just historical sights. They were colossal, commanding, and majestic in the truest sense of the word. The Sphinx stared ahead in stoic silence, her expression unreadable yet full of stories. I placed my hand on the warm stone of the Valley Temple and felt like I had slipped through time. Lunch was at a local Egyptian restaurant. The spices were rich, the bread warm, and I could still see the tips of the pyramids peeking from behind distant rooftops. The afternoon was all about the Grand Egyptian Museum, GEM, walking through the airy halls filled with ancient wonders, including enormous statues and golden relics. I was especially moved by the quiet reverence everyone seemed to hold in that space. It's more than a museum. It's a temple to human legacy. Summary of the day. Touching the stone of the pyramid, I felt small, but also deeply connected to something eternal. Day 3, flight to Luxor, embarking on the Nile. Early morning, we boarded a short flight from Cairo to Luxor. Once I stepped out of the airport, the shift was immediate. Luxor felt slower, more ancient, almost reverent. The Nile cruise ship was sleek, welcoming, and surprisingly luxurious. After lunch on board, we headed out to the Karnak Temple. The massive pillars soared above us like stone trees. Wandering between them, I whispered to myself, "This is real. This is Egypt." Luxor Temple, in contrast, felt more intimate and romantic, especially as the golden afternoon light poured through its statues and walls. I imagined ancient ceremonies under starlit skies and found myself oddly emotional. Dinner back on the cruise was dreamy. Watching the river shimmer under the moonlight, I exhaled in peace. Summary of the day. The columns of Karnak don't just tower, they speak. And tonight they whispered secrets of gods and kings. Day 4, Valley of the Kings, Hatshepsut, and Colossi of Memnon, where souls rest. This was one of the most soul-stirring mornings of my life. After breakfast, we drove into the Theban hills. The Valley of the Kings doesn't shout. It hums with quiet grandeur, descending into the tombs. I was stunned by the vivid colors and delicate carvings that had endured millennia. The temple of Queen Hatshepsut was unlike anything else, carved right into the cliffside. It felt like a fierce, feminine statement etched into stone. I admired her ambition, her legacy. At the Colossi of Memnon, 2 giant statues stood like time-worn guards of a forgotten kingdom. Their weathered faces stared into eternity. We sailed toward Edfu that afternoon. I sat on deck as the Nile slid by. Palm groves, farmers with donkeys, children waving from the shore. Dinner was quiet. I was lost in thought. Summary of the day. In the tomb of a pharaoh, I didn't feel fear or awe, but a deep, respectful stillness. Like I was trespassing on something sacred. Day 5. Temples of Edfu and Kom Ombo between falcon and crocodile. Edfu's temple, dedicated to Horus, was one of the best preserved temples I've ever seen. The walls seemed to breathe with myth and mystery. I traced the carvings with my fingers and marveled at how sharp they still felt. Later in Kom Ombo, the setting sun glinted off the twin temples, one for Horus, the other for Sobek, the crocodile god. The juxtaposition was fascinating. Falcon and crocodile, sky and water, logic and chaos. Sailing toward Aswan in the twilight, I leaned against the railing, letting the desert breeze tangle in my hair. Summary of the day. Today, Egypt reminded me that gods come in many forms, and all are powerful. Day 6, Aswan, peace on the Nile. Aswan has a calm energy. Our day started at the High Dam, an impressive symbol of modern Egyptian determination. Then came Philae Temple, my personal favorite of the trip, accessible only by boat. It emerged from the water like a mirage. The temple, dedicated to Isis, felt serene, otherworldly. We also visited the unfinished obelisk, a colossal stone still lying in the quarry. It was a reminder of human ambition and fragility. What could have been one of the largest obelisks ever, now forever incomplete. Summary of the day. Philae Temple didn't feel ancient, it felt alive. A sacred island floating in time. Day 7, return to Cairo. One last glimpse. After breakfast, we flew back to Cairo. It was a travel day, a quiet one. I wandered near the hotel in the evening, taking in the city sounds one last time. The call to prayer, the hum of traffic, the laughter of kids in the street. I bought a small papyrus painting from a local vendor and sipped mint tea under a sky that looked just like it did that first night. Except now, I was changed. Summary of the day. Egypt didn't just show me its past. It reminded me how travel rewrites the present. Day 8, farewell Egypt, departure day. As I stood in line at the airport, I felt full. Not in the too much falafel kind of way, but in the heart. I came chasing history and wonder, and found both in abundance. I'll be back. I already know it. Final reflection. Egypt is not a checklist of monuments. It's a feeling that lingers long after the Nile disappears from your window seat.